Hello guys, I'm Lord Dead Pixels, and we're about to talk. A lot of people want an evil Goku in a new universe, 6, but I'm going to have to burst your bubble. I don't think it's going to happen, mainly because I don't think the creator had intended for an evil Goku to exist. Now with that being said, let's dive into the subject. First off, evil Goku cannot exist because therefore Goku would have bumped his head but still been evil, so therefore he would have to be known as Kakarot. So let's talk about that. So first, if Kakarot never bumped his head, he would have a hard time taking or destroying Earth. Even though it was hinted at in the manga chapter of Dragon Ball Super, Earth being eradicated by war and no humans left to live, that does say that Kakarot could exist. There's no doubt that Goku or Kakarot could exist still because he could have been the one that done it. But here's the problem, the big problem. Okay, Kakarot was not that strong. I'm just going to refer to him as Goku, just so you know, just so you know his name would have been Kakarot. Because Kakarot is ridiculous to try to say all the fucking time. So, Goku would have had a hard time combating his master, Roshi. He would have had, well, he wouldn't have been his master in the alternative timeline, but you get the idea. Master Roshi was extremely powerful in early Dragon Ball, and Goku wasn't. Tien is another contender that Goku would have to fight with. Now, I'm not going to throw King Piccolo in here because King Piccolo kind of became active by other means, but even still, if we did throw King Piccolo in here, that would be another character that Goku would have to fight and defeat. And that being said, Kami is probably powerful as fuck. Goku has to kill Kami too? Okay, yeah, we can say that he would use the moon to do so, but that's still a huge leap. Okay, a huge leap. I just don't see it working to his advantage. But let's say that he managed to kill everybody on Earth. That was his objective. He had to kill everybody on Earth. Let's say that it happened. Okay. While he was waiting for Raditz, he could have trained. That's all possible. But is it likely? I'm going to have to say no. Even if he did train, he wouldn't be relatively more powerful than when Raditz showed up. He didn't kill everybody. He doesn't have anybody to really train with. He could kill dinosaurs, I guess. But they shouldn't be dinosaurs anyway, because Beer says he killed them all. But hey, we're not going to argue with logic. Okay, so even if Raditz comes and picks him up, he goes along with his brother. Their happy brother reunion. No, there's no Gohan, no Piccolo to fight after, because everybody's dead, right? And anyway, so let's say that they go off and do this job. Since Vegeta is already stronger than Goku by leaps and bounds by this point, Goku can't even use Kaioken because remember, he never died. Do you learn it? And he's definitely not a good guy if he killed everybody on Earth. So he would never learn Kaioken. So he would remain weak as fuck. Okay, he'd be weaker than Raditz for probably a couple of months or even years. He'd probably come back from every one of his missions just like his father, barely alive, barely visible. Visible, what the fuck? So, and if we know anything about Vegeta, he would kill Goku because he would be crippled all the time, and apparently, now we could argue that he wouldn't sustain an injury that would ruin his Saiyan career. We're not saying that. We're just going to argue with the facts that Goku, probably for a full stint of time, would be weaker than Raditz. Now, we're not going to say that he would not get stronger. Definitely, Goku would get stronger if he was alive with the Saiyans. Now, what about the Namek arc? Okay, so since they never learned about the Dragon Ball's dynamic arc, let's go ahead and say it would not exist. It would be some kind of alternative arc. So would the Saiyans rebel against Frieza? Now, I'm going to go ahead and tell you, I do believe that the Saiyans would eventually rebel against Frieza, but not because they wanted to. They would have no choice. Frieza would definitely start to worry about Vegeta getting stronger. If I say it in different ways, it's because as a kid I watched Dragon Ball Z in a different dub than what you're familiar with. It's the Ocean dub, and they would pronounce Vegeta as Vegeta. So if you ever catch me saying that, that's because of that dub. It's there. I said it. But anyway, I definitely think that Frieza would want to get rid of all the Saiyans, and so there's a big problem here. Would any of the Saiyans be strong enough to turn Super Saiyan? And would any of them know how to do it? Well, the easiest solution is no. They would die in the Frieza saga of the alternative universe. It's so obvious that it just could not happen. But let's say that somehow the strongest of the Saiyans, Vegeta, God damn it, that dub is fucking me up, Raleigh. Anyway, Vegeta would be the strongest, so he would have the more opportunity to transform into that form. But I don't think he would have 100. He wouldn't have Goku's power level as if he was on Namek. Goku came to Namek, where good Goku came to Namek with a 100 plus power level, which Super Saiyan would make him about 5 million, roughly. If it's more, don't really bitch in the comments because I probably am getting it wrong. But based off 100 times 50 is about 5 million, so plus is well in the range of where his power level would be. Okay, so that being said, we already know that Goku on Namek was only a little bit stronger than Frieza. Just a little bit, okay? So, the problem with that is, Vegeta, god damn it, would not have this power level that, Goku had on Namek, so his power level would not be 5 million. But, let's say that Goku and Raditz and Nappa both achieved Super Saiyan somehow by amazing feats. Maybe they got tired, maybe they really wanted revenge and they turned into a Super Saiyan. Okay, let's say by this point Vegeta's power level was at least 50, and he went Super Saiyan times that. Okay, that's what, 2 million plus maybe. Okay, and let's say Goku's power level and Raditz's power level are about equal, and they're both about 20,000. Okay, we times that by 50, that's a million plus. Okay, so Nappa 3,000. So let's take his power level and say he's about no, not 20. Let's do 40. So that gives him a little bit more than 2 million. A little bit more than 2 million. Okay, so maybe with that combined power, they could get their revenge on Frieza. Of course, Vegeta getting the final kill because he's far stronger at this point. Okay, so now they have no reason to fight. Now we could say Cooler, of course, would want to avenge his brother, but Cooler's not technically canon, and Cooler's just a little bit stronger than Frieza technically, but realistically not, because he doesn't actually exist in the main Dragon Ball Z universe. So King Cold, I think without a question, King Cold is the weakest. You can say he has transformations, which I'm going to say he doesn't. Now you can argue that he does. He just never shown them. But for what I have seen, he doesn't have them. His form that you see him in, I believe, is his final form. His son surpassed him. I'm going to say that because it is not proven in the anime or manga that he has any other forms. There has never been a movie based on where he gets another form. If they would have made that a movie, that would have been great, but they did not. King Code Suspended, or whatever they would have named it. Subsended. Whatever. Okay, anyway. So maybe, after all of that, they all achieve Super Saiyan, because they would need that strength. I cannot say without the fact that one of them wouldn't die. I mean, after all, Goku and Raditz would only be equal in power, and they couldn't stand up to Frieza at 5 million something. I mean, they only got a power of 1 million. So, with that being said, let's assume that they beat Frieza. What's next for them? Well, they wouldn't be a Cell arc because Trunks would not exist. Well, I guess you can technically say that somehow Dr. Gero survives, and he ends up making the androids and Cell, but Cell would be years along the line because there's no Trunks saga. There could be no alternative Cell coming back from the future to absorb the android. That could not have happened, so Cell could have been years down the line. Somewhere around the time of Boo, technically, when Cell was supposed to awaken. In this case, you didn't know. So, the androids could have been built. We can argue that. But they would be definitely fully android. They would not be biomechanical androids. Because there's no humans on Earth, so Dr. Gero couldn't build them. Okay, but let's say he kidnapped them before Goku killed them. They would be kids and they would be grown up in cells and shit. So biomechanical androids could exist. Okay, but there's no... They would have to have a spaceship to travel through space to get their revenge on Goku. So they'd be going to planets and killing shit just because it's fun. Who's to say they wouldn't run across something stronger than the Saiyans they're going to defeat? I mean, it's kind of obvious that they probably would run into something even stronger. So they might end up getting killed. But let's say they don't, and they end up never finding the Saiyans because they don't know what the fuck they are. They're in fucking galaxies fighting people because they can and being mean as shit. Blowing up planets. Goku's getting stronger. Okay. So we say Cell's eventually born and he goes into space trying to find the androids and God damn. It would have been a fuck fest if they done that. Anyway. So God damn it, Cell in space. Okay, so anyway, let's get back to the story at hand. My goodness. So, you see how ridiculous this whole android Cell saga would be, and if it would have been if it was in the way. Okay, so let's say that Cell eventually finds the androids and absorbs them. About the same time they finally find Goku. About the same time. Cell absorbs them and whatnot. Now, keep in mind that technically Cell would not be strong enough to absorb Android 17 because he was weaker than Android 17 because when he came out of his womb or whatever, his little nutsack, he did not absorb anything. So if he just bumped into them and absorbed them, he would not be strong enough to absorb 17. But let's just say on his way he absorbed other aliens and he became stronger, ravaged whole planets and shit. That way he would become strong enough to be absorb Android 17 and 18. So here's the bigger problem. How strong are these androids? How strong is Cell? We cannot really say based on the if we want to put it in an alternative universe, they might be stronger than the Saiyans. Again, that's plausible. But let's say that they've achieved a new thing, a new power, Super Saiyan 2. Then Cell would be nothing because you gotta assume if they're going around constantly fighting, constantly destroying shit. Let's say they took over the whole entire Frieza Empire, King Cole's empire. They killed King Cole. They killed Frieza. They took over the empire. They wouldn't really have a reason to not be weak at this point. Let's say that. So let's say they are Super Saiyan 2. Goku still being the weakest. Maybe stronger than Raditz by this point, because I don't think Raditz really was a good... wasn't really about training. Wasn't really about fighting. I think he was more along the lines of the grunt guy that goes check shit out, does stuff that other people need to get done. That's kind of what he seemed like when he was first introduced, but he was a bastard. Let's go ahead and put it that way. Nappa, I'm going to go ahead and say that he probably would not have trained either, because of what we know about him and Father Bardock. He was more along the lines of a instructor or commander, so he would just command the troops. So that's what I give him. He's not going to be too much more stronger than when he left Frieza. So that's what I'm going to say. Goku and of course Vegeta would be the strongest by this point, because I don't see the other two growing in strength. I also don't see Vegeta getting a wife or a son. I don't see Goku getting a wife or a son. So let's say they destroy Cell easily. Well, after that, what would be next? We already know after the original Dragon Ball Z Universe 7. I just burped. Anyway, would have been Boo. The problem with that is Boo could not resurrect on Earth because there was no life forms on Earth. So that's a problem. So Boo would never be resurrected. You could say that he hijacks it and takes it to another planet, but no, I'm not going to go there. Okay, let's just go and say Battle of Gods happens. Battle of Gods. The bigger problem with that is, if Beerus so happens to remember the legend of the legendary Super Saiyan God, or Super Saiyan God, whatever the fuck you want to call it, Super Saiyan Red, I'm thinking some people threw that out there, but I don't think it's still Super Saiyan God, I'm pretty sure.
Damn it! All right.
There's not enough Saiyans to create this, to create the Super Saiyan God. There's Raditz, Nappa, Vegeta, and Kakarot. So there's only 4. They need at least 2 more. Okay, so we can say Vegeta's brother comes to fruition. They find Vegeta's brother, and okay, so they got 5. So they would need at least 1 more. So that's a big problem. Where would they get another Saiyan from? I don't know. So the other problem is that they're not pure of heart. Now we could argue that maybe another god would be born if they weren't pure of heart, maybe a demon god, but I'm not going to go that route. But hypothetically, let's say they somehow one of the women that Kakarot or Vegeta or even Raditz was fucking around with so happened to be pregnant. Now the other problem is they wouldn't even know how to do the ritual, so they would have to find a way. Let's say they knew about the Dragon Balls and Vegeta's wish for immortality, because there's nothing to stop him, right? He's evil. Goku being the second strongest, might as well get immortality too, right? He's evil, right? He's evil Goku. So let's say they do the ritual, obviously. Of course, Vegeta being the strongest, he would become the Super Saiyan God, and maybe Goku later on. Obviously, right? So let's not call it a Super Saiyan God. Let's call it a Demon God because they're not pure of heart. So they fight Beerus and lose. They can't handle it. Now, here's the bigger picture. They would not go to Whis and ask for help. They're not that type of people. And plus, Vegeta wouldn't have a reason to beg Whis to train him because he would already be stronger than Kakarot. So maybe Goku would want to train with Whis to become stronger than Vegeta. But even still, that's just high speculation. And at that point, I'm going to have to say it. Demon God Goku or Demon God Kakarot just doesn't seem plausible. Just can't. So to sum it up, guys, a universe where Kakarot is evil is almost impossible. For one key reason. He would have died on planet Earth. He's not strong enough to take on Tien. He's not strong enough to take on Master Roshi as a kid. He just couldn't. He trained for years to surpass Master Roshi. And even still, one of them would have died fighting Frieza. Because, again, his power level would only have been 1,000,000 fighting Frieza if you give him 20,000. He doesn't really have a reason to train. And then we're just making up shit after that. Because, I mean, I can give the first two sagas. I can see a way for Goku to beat Tien and Master Roshi. I can see a way for that. But if you throw in King Piccolo in the mix and Kami in the mix, I don't see it. But let's say they do happen, it does happen somehow, I still can't see them beating Frieza. It's not possible. And then after that, I just made up a bunch of shit. So, they wouldn't have enough Saiyans. First off, I just randomly started creating Saiyans, and there's possible there's more Saiyans out in the stratosphere. We don't know. Other universe, and there might be more. And Broly might be canon in that universe for all I know, right? He's evil Broly, right? Paragus might even exist. Bardock might still be alive. I don't know. But so with that being said, it's highly unlikely that Universe 6 will have evil Kakarot. It could. Don't get me wrong. Evil Kakarot could exist. Don't get me wrong. It's possible. But do I think we're going to see him in Universe 6? The answer is no. I don't, but I could be wrong. I mean, it'd be awesome to see Goku fight himself, but I don't think it's going to happen. Plus, I just kind of made up the Demon God. I mean, we don't even know if the Demon God even exists. And so, there's that. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. And it's kind of long. If you stay to the end, put in the comments, super dick. Why the fuck not? Or blonde pubic hair. One of those two. But anyway, see you guys on the next video. Please like and subscribe.